I sit at my desk and occasionally glance at a buffalo skull on the wall. It was painted by a Hidatsa medicine man. If the ancient skull could talk at all, he might tell me tales of the great grassy seas on the bountiful Panhandle plains, or remember the nights neath the Montana sky and the cold of the Wind River rains. He might remember a young Cheyenne warrior on a spotted horse, how he could ride, staying abreast of a running fat cow with a lance that left death in its stride. Or he might remember the hide-hunting men, the sound of a buffalo gun and the smell of fresh blood as they died one by one until there was no place to run. The yearly migration of millions of beasts made it look like the land was alive. The wolves took the weak ones, the winter took some, and the Indian took enough to survive. The Indian believed the buffalo was his brother, like the coyote and the eagle and the wind. He revered him in stories, in song, and in dance. It was his larder, his shelter, his friend. The brown hide was used for teepees and robes. A shoulder blade made a good hoe, and a paunch held the food for the winter supply, and a sinew, a string for a bow. Then the Sharp's Big 50 roared over the land till only a few head remained, and the ones that were left either died of old age or were captured when they fenced off the range. On the railhead at Dodge, the great stacks of hides were loaded on rail cars, and then, while the carcasses rotted and wolves picked the bones, cobblers made boots from the skins. The Comanche went out from the Fort Sill stockade for one final hunt on the plains. They returned to the fort, their destruction complete. They would never hunt buffalo again. The Sioux and the Cheyenne came into the forts. They died from disease by the score, but they still believed that the great massive herds would return to the plains as before. The dream still survives, and in my mind I see the Comanche still lord of the plains. But this ancient old skull, with its dark, empty eyes, is the prairie song's saddest refrain.